My name's Jenny Adams. I was a 100-meter hurdler and a long jumper. I competed 9 years professionally. I competed for Team USA on 9 separate Team USA teams. I had agents reaching out to me, I had sponsors reaching out to me, and I was able to sign a contract with Nike for 4 years that allowed me to be 100% focused on track and field. If I think about the highlights of my career, I would say 2001 World Championship team finalist, 2003 World Championship team finalist. In those early years, just being on the IAAF World Ranking, I was ranked 3rd in the world as a rookie, and then I maintained top 10 in the world every year with the exception of a few years that I was hurt. In 2001, when I made the US team, automatically I got into some competitions in Europe. My very first European race, I ran a PR, which is personal record, and I won. Well, that got me into the next race. So I went on to the next one, I won that. Then I went on to the next one, I won that. So I continued to win and go undefeated. Because of those 4 wins in a row, I got into the biggest meet of the year, which was called the DN Gala in Paris. So there were about 60,000 fans. And then they put me in lane 4 next to a woman who at the time had the world leading time. But I really believed in my heart that I could win. I was still on this winning high, and I ended up winning that race too. Probably one of the most painful moments in my life was in the 2004 Olympic trials when I didn't make the Olympic team. At the time, it felt like I had a major death in my family. I did everything I was supposed to do. I could not have done anything different. And track did not give back to me the way I gave to track. In 2007, I was actually having a great season, and I was just training like a beast. I was training so hard. There became a point in that season when I just couldn't recover, and I just couldn't fire the same way. When looking back on it, that's kind of when my career started to end. I couldn't finish that season. The next year I was injured, and I didn't make the Olympic team, and that was my 3rd try at making an Olympic team that I didn't make. And I was so heartbroken that I just couldn't pick myself back up. I didn't know what I was gonna do. I didn't have a backup plan. So I took that the next year to compete, to earn some money, and to kind of reflect and spend time to figure out what my next play in life was gonna be. And I'd competed to over 40 countries around the world, and really I was pent up in a hotel room. And so I took that last year to go back to some competitions and enjoy it. And I really got myself out there and spend time with my friends. That last year for me was a really special time to just kind of take a minute and enjoy it and say goodbye slowly. My biggest challenge during those years of competition were the sacrifices that I made and not having close and intimate relationships. And I think that really impacted my well-being as a person. I didn't flourish in the way that I could have. I still remember it so clearly when I retired. I was happy about the next chapter in life, but then I was also lost and confused, and I wanted to just take off and soar into the next career, but I didn't know which way to go. I didn't feel like I needed to work out anymore. I was like, I just need a break from all of it. That impacted my mental health and my psychology of just taking away all of that physical exercise and sunshine that I had every day. In hindsight, I would go back and force myself to just do some sort of exercise or routine just for my mental health. I didn't understand it, or I didn't want to accept it because I still had this confidence as an athlete that I could do anything. So I was in this place of just being very confident, and I've been top in the world, I can handle this. And all of this mental illness that was following retirement was something that I just kind of kept quiet and didn't talk about and didn't deal with. So much of who I was a track and field athlete, and that started to be formed when I was age 12. Conversation became very easy because everybody wanted to talk about track all the time. If I went to a party, that was they wanted to hear about where I'd been and what I was up to. And when all of that went away, I didn't really have anything else to offer. I didn't know how to fit in with people. I was actually kind of socially awkward. The community I have now are not from the track world, and I actually really like that. I've connected with them on different topics on a different level, and I enjoy blending in more and not just being like this track athlete that's so separate. My goals are much more about people and life and just that experience of being a human, opposed to running a very specific time. If I could go back and give myself any advice, would be to find either a psychologist or a life coach or someone that I can consistently go in and meet with to help me navigate that process, because it is a major process, retiring from sport that's been your life and identity for so many years. I do love coaching, but I was just curious about what else can I do? Like, I've been in track since I was 12. Can I do something else? I had a friend who was doing stunts in LA, and he was like, you should be a stunt woman. They make such good money and it's so fun. So I started going to these classes with him and some of his friends. I was also personal coaching at a local gym with kids just to make money. My entire adult life was on the track in a sports bra and spandex. That was my work attire. And so this whole corporate scene was something I was not exposed to. I had no idea what it was like, and it's just a completely different world from the track. My first interview, I'm with the big boss at Fox, and I choked. I choked so bad. I still remember I was like sweaty and nervous, and I could barely answer any questions, and she asked me if I had a question, and I didn't have any questions, which is, you know, the worst thing. You should always have questions for your interviewee. Yeah, it was an opportunity that could have been great that I just missed out on. It wasn't necessarily my dream job to work in a surgery center, but it was an incredible experience. Their mission was to help the athletes get back into competition after injury. And I was that liaison between the doctor and the athlete and the U.S. Olympic Committee. Red Bull guys came in, my future boss. The words I used, I said, if you have any shitty jobs that nobody wants to do, I'm happy to do them. And so that was my entry into Red Bull, was through the high performance team. It was exciting to go into this new chapter of life. You know, I started down at the bottom, so that's one thing that's hard, because you go from the top of your industry back to the bottom. Some of the skills that I brought from track are passion, dedication, to have that mindset of we're all in this together, and to take that into the corporate world where you have that with your team, I think is so important, because that's when you can really accomplish great things together. Aggression, which actually pays back really well as an athlete, doesn't work so well in the office. So I've definitely gotten myself into trouble a few times. I have to say, yes, it's possible to start planning and thinking about this next chapter in your life, because there's a long life to live after sport. Open the door a little and have some experiences outside of your sport so that you can marry who you are as an athlete into this next chapter of your life. Usually, because we're top in the world, we don't want to start in that low, and we feel like we're worth more, and so we want to come in higher, but it's so hard to come in higher to a corporate job without the experience and without understanding the brand or the processes or not really knowing people. But get into a company where you can, and then work those relationships. I traveled the world. I got outside of my small town in Texas. I made friends from around the world, and it changed me as a person. You know, I still look back at my career with like incredible gratitude, and I wouldn't change anything. I mean, well, that's not true. I would totally change going to the Olympic team. Right, of course. And I'd medal. I built a lot of skills that I'm still using today, and I'm just incredibly grateful for that experience.